There we go. All right. So, this just new to this live thing, so I can't figure out if it's recording or not half the time. So I'm sitting here in my kitchen / workspace. I just finished with a coaching I do with a private client, and a conversation came up because, which has come up a lot, that I wanted to talk about real quick while it was on my mind, because they were talking about that a younger person came up to them and talked about how they were inspired by what they were doing because they don't live in LA, they live in the middle of nowhere, and which is one thing I started working with them to get them to before they moved to LA to get their career up and moving so that they came here with momentum. But what has turned out is now they are inspiring other local people, especially younger generation, because of what they're doing. And the younger person came up to him and said, I want to be like you in so many ways, in the sense of like following your dream, and I'm inspired by what you're doing. But I'm basically what I call a closeted actor. They don't tell their family about it. They don't tell their friends about it because they're afraid of judgment, of ridicule, what people will think, things like that. And I was actually a closeted actor for many, many years because growing up in the Midwest, I had a drama class and a Reader's Theater class where we did things like Disney type plays around the elementary schools in our township. But it was always looked at like a easy fluff class, to get an easy credit, where I took it like it was my passion. But people made fun of me. My family didn't really know how to or really support me at the time. They were more concerned about me getting an education and being financially successful than they were more about being emotionally, spiritually, and creatively successful. So because of that, I went into the closet as an actor in that sense for many, many years. I ended up joining the Marine Corps, to get out into the world because I didn't have any support or anything. So one thing with why it ended up and I even moved to LA right after the Marine Corps and studied acting for a year and had some opportunities come up, but then I left LA because I didn't deep down believe that I was ready for it, that I was good enough, or I was deserving. So I sabotaged myself again for a couple more years before coming back and really going for it. One thing of why I started teaching and putting things online, things like that, is because like this young person who came to my client was wanting to do what they were doing and follow their dreams, but yet they were afraid to tell their parents, their friends, things like that because of the ridicule or being made fun of or whatever it was. The thing that I discovered is that and why I want to teach and share my information is because I never want anybody to go through what I went through, and if they do, I don't want them to have to go through it for the length of time that I had to go through it. I want them to be able to, my dream is to get to a generation of people as a whole that are not fearful of following their dreams, of being their authentic self, of going after it, and don't have any doubt in their value of that dream. So anyways, when this came up today, I wanted to put this on camera and share it because I think it's very important to tell someone who is a closeted actor, artist, musician, whatever it is, that from my experience, that all that fear of ridicule and judgment and criticism and all that other stuff, when I finally did make the decision to come out of the closet in that sense and say and say to the world, this is what I want to do, this is the career, this is my passion, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and I basically had to tell people, either get on board or get out of the way. What ended up happening was that people started to show up. Friends of mine, family members, even strangers were actually showing up to support me, not just emotionally and verbally, but they financially. People started donating money to help me get my projects made. People also, like my friends, they were donating their time and houses and resources and everything else to help me shoot short films and films for competition and things like that. And it was surprising to me that the whole time these people would have supported me for years. And maybe, there would have been some people ridiculing me and making fun of me and criticizing me, but the people that supported me far outweighed the critics in so many ways. And people actually, they just wanted to be a part of it. They didn't want to be actors necessarily. They weren't interested in making it a career or anything, but because I was passionate about it, because I wanted to do it, and they were like, that sounds like fun. I'd get together with these friends who really didn't have any desire to really be in entertainment business, but they just they were cool with just helping me out and having fun. So what I would say to anybody is that you may, when you look around, and it could be your parents, it could be friends and things like that, that will criticize you. Number one, realize that a big shift for me is that was in my life was your parents can never give you what they weren't given. So if they weren't supported in their dreams, if they weren't loved, if they weren't taught how to handle money, things like that, unless they consciously went out and re-taught themselves, they don't know how to pass that on to you. So in a perfect world, a parent should be supportive no matter what and be encouraging and do whatever they can to support you. But if they weren't taught how to do that by their parents, it's not necessarily that easy. Just because they are your parent doesn't make them right. My thing is, like with anything, is take everybody's advice, collate all the information you have, look at it, and make a decision for yourself. Don't blindly just follow anybody. My other thing is, like, if it's something you really love, voice it to the world. The world will respond. Maybe it won't be the people around you right now, but the right people will show up, and they will support you, and it's amazing. And don't waste another day being in the closet with your passion and dreams. Because the generations before us have been programmed and taught that job security and what success looks like is this 9-to-5, 401k, corporate, cookie cutter house in the Midwest or whatever with a front yard, white picket fence, 2 to 3 kids, and the nuclear family type idea. Success is whatever you want it to be, and success is happiness, like financial, spiritual, creative happiness. So whatever it takes to get that, and if anything, prove them wrong. So the way I say is, like, and I tell my students and people I mentor all the time, is that no matter who they are, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your siblings, best friend, whatever, you either get on board or get out of the way. Because if you really truly love me, you will support me. And as I had to tell my father at one point, is like, you can either get on board and go along for the ride, or you can get out of my life. Because if you really love me and support me and want me to be happy, you have to figure out a way to get past your biases, your judgments, whatever. You may not understand, but if you really love me and want to be a part of my life, you better figure out a way to support me. And that doesn't mean financially. It just means, like, just on the bad days, they're like, what, just keep at it, and not put their negative influence in, like, well, how long till you give this thing up? Like a true, person who truly loves you, and supports you, should support you. And lost my connection for a second. So claim what you want to do. Life is way too short to live in the closet on anything. and be ashamed of it. To me, artists, you know, people. If you look at like your parents, they love movie stars, they love musicians. You know, they look up to these people. The only difference is they don't, for some reason, don't believe, because they're limited believe that you could be one of those people. So it's not that they don't believe that it can happen. Most just don't believe it can happen to somebody in their world because they're limited thinking. So you just have to prove to them that you are that, you can. And you just need the opportunity. You need the knowledge. You need the skills, yes. But it's not impossible. So don't waste another day. I'm grateful for who I am today because the route I took and the challenges and everything that made me who I am. And I know I chose this path for many reasons on a subconscious spiritual level. However, I don't like to regret things, but one thing I do regret is not from the beginning just claiming and saying this is who I want to be and this is what I want to do and just going for it. Because you can't get the time back. Not that I'm not grateful for all the experiences I had and the people I met and you know, amazing things that happened in between. But don't live in the closet anymore. Don't be ashamed of that. We as artists, especially as actors and storytellers, we are the documentarians of history. We are the entertainers. We get people through the hard times. We educate people for growth and move the society forward. You know, we inspire so much. We inspire other artists. So you have no reason to wait. You have no reason to be ashamed. If anybody should be ashamed, it should be the people that have dreams, that, you know, when they were kids, they had dreams, they have potential, they have talent, and they subscribe to the bullshit 9-to-5 corporate machine that Henry Ford came up with to create a cheaper car in the early 1900s that we still use today. This 9-to-5, and you know, we still go to school on a schedule for the most part, that where we take summer break for 2 or 3 months, which was only established when, you know, most of the country was a farming community, and the families needed the kids to have the summer to harvest all the crops and prep for the next season. So a lot of our society and thinking is outdated. And now you still, even though it's changing with social media and, you know, becoming a global economy and everything else, you still have the old idealism. You still have the old minds and mentality and belief systems running a lot of or are they still the decision makers? But just because other people think in limited thoughts doesn't mean you have to. You look at anybody that you consider special in this world, like a Steve Jobs, or you know, a Tom Cruise, or anybody like that you think is special. They are special, but there's nothing really special about them, in the sense that they don't have something magical that nobody else has. We all have different special things about us, but they worked for what they have. They took a risk on themselves. They went against the grain, and they went for their dreams and didn't take no for an answer. That's really the only difference, because, you know, I've seen kids in Ethiopia and third world countries that have, you know, come from absolutely nothing and invented something or become something and changed the world. I've seen people do amazing things, and then I've seen people that have all the possibilities and resources in the world, and they have nothing but excuses. So you do have to work on yourself. You do have to work on your craft. You do need mentors. You need resources, but to get those things, there's nothing holding you back from getting those things other than yourself, and just going around asking people, how do I, you know, and being open to it. So if I can encourage you to step out of that closet today and really just go for it. You have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. You know, if anything, you know, and you discover you don't want to be an actor, you discover, you know, the entertainment industry isn't for you, or you don't really want to be a painter and it leads you on another path, at least you took the shot and you're not living in the what ifs. So don't be ashamed of it. Don't take the safe perceived path. Do what's scary. Do what everybody else isn't doing, because, you know, as Arnold Schwarzenegger talked about, he goes, you know, because everybody, you know, said you don't speak good English and you're this big guy and everything and you'll never fit in. He's like, good, because when the whole herd goes left, if I just go to the right, then I'm going to stick out. So, you know, people who don't support your dreams, don't encourage you, whoever they are, get them out of your life. Stop listening to them, because that's a limited belief. You need to look and find for the people that support you and pull you in and nurture you and say, let me show you what I did. Hopefully it'll help you. And with the internet now, you can have mentors all over the world. You can pick up a book. You can have mentors throughout history. There's plenty of amazing people out there that are sharing information. And so you don't have to move to LA. You don't have to go to New York. You don't have to go to Juilliard to get this information anymore. You just have to do the work in finding it and not giving up. So I'll wrap it up with that. Just a short one today, but I did want to share that because it's very, very important that nobody else goes through what I went through. And if I can keep one person from having to go through that by sharing this information, I hope it helps. If anybody, you know, has any questions or, you know, wants to discuss it any further, please reach out. You know, DM me through that. You can follow me at Brent Harvey Films as well on my personal profile. Be glad to help in any way. But you know, the world's much scarier living the life that you weren't meant to live, and living somebody else's dream, or what the life somebody else says you should live. There is no security, there's no safety in anything. Anybody can lose their job at any time. An industry can be disrupted and destroyed overnight. So you might as well do what you love and go after that and just be the best at it and have fun doing it, and enjoy the ride as opposed to doing what's expected of you. So I'll leave you with that. Hope this helps. I'm going to post it on our account as well. So share with anybody if you'd like to, and let me know what you think. And Mimi Karila, thanks for being here and being my audience while I was live. Boom.